Have you ever burned your tongue like really bad and then you just feel like you don't taste things right for a few days?
Like a couple, yeah.
I don't know what happened, but like I chew this gum. I think you probably tried some when we went to John's wedding. It's the first time I bought it. It's this sinus clearing gum. It's like super, super potent. And I chewed a couple pieces today because whatever. And I think it burned the heck out of my tongue, dude. Unless I'm forgetting like something, which is possible.
I smell
that I had that was hot. I'm like, man, I feel like I can't taste things right. Tongue feels all dry and stuff. It's weird.
Listen, I wouldn't put it past that guy. How much did you have? Regular?
Just 2 pieces.
Okay.
2 bags. Is that a problem? 2 whole bags of gum.
I crushed it up and I snorted it. You ever heard of snorting gum? You have now.
You have now. It opens up your sinuses real good.
Speaking of my sinuses, I had crazy allergies yesterday because I made like a lot of progress with the cat. And so I was like all up petting him and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I did the no-no. I rubbed my face with the back of my hands thinking, this isn't my fingertips. And it wasn't until I walked away, I was like, wait, I pet him with the back of my hand. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I should have scratched my face with my fingers like normal.
Yeah.
I have like his food and everything set up right here next to me out here. And he even came out before like my kids were like officially in bed, like their doors were shut, but it wasn't like lights out and everything. He came out and he was eating and he was about to eat the bowls. And then my daughter came out and screwed it up and he ran. So I don't know where he is now, but it's not nearby.
You can't win for losing.
Speaking of the cats, dude, I have a cat update number 3, but it's not this cat. It's, did I tell you about the kittens?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So
I thought they were gone. So
real quick for everyone, I'm out Sunday playing in the yard with my sons. I'm actually doing the idyllic, like throwing the baseball, to my.
Come on,
Oliver.
Junior.
Oh yeah, throw a few with your old man. But we're playing catch. I'm throwing this thing, and he is knocking the shit out of these balls. We're having a good time. And then I hear all the way from my carport to the corner of my yard, I hear like high pitched meowing, like kitten meowing. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. And so I follow the sound. I go to like the corner of my yard, like the 4 corners fence of the other backyards. And I peek over it like Mr. Wilson. And, and I'm looking over there and I see 3 tabby kittens. The edge of their yard, they have like a pool deck, and then about like there's like a 2-foot drop off to like the ditch, which is where like a lot of their plants are growing from. So it's like it's like a plant bed / ditch, not like a couple of weeds, like a full blown bushes. Okay. Anyways, so and they're a little bit more elevated from the rest of us because they're better than us. And anyway, so like they
have a pool.
Oh, there's the cat. Hi, cat. Your food is here. He doesn't fucking care. Their pool to ditch drop off is supplied by railroad ties, creating a retaining wall, right? So cornered up in one of these railroad ties are these little tabby kittens. And I was like, oh my God, they're kittens. And I'm looking over and there's a big fat orange cat in the bush, like looking at me like, oh fuck. And there's a black cat with like a little white, like bow tie, a real one,
fancy
not his
cat.
fur. Yeah, he's wearing a bow tie. Yeah. He's like, suffer and succotash.
Suffer and succotash. These stocks in the stock market are killing me.
They found us. So he looks at me and he's like, oh my God. And so I'm looking around like, oh, there's kittens. So I'm just like taking videos and pictures and sending them to you guys. And so then like I start consulting like my brain trust of my cat brain trust and pretty much like, what do I do?
Just imagine that as other cats. you texted a brain trust of cats.
Of cats, yeah. They can't type because their paws are all...
Meow, I think you should give them some food. Meow.
Give them the keys to your car. Meow. So
meow. Some of us really like pets. Meow.
A nice juicy steak. Meow.
Meow.
Meow. So I basically come to realize like, all right, if these kittens, so they're alone, that is not unusual. The mother is usually out hunting, providing for them. So them being by themselves, but I was drawn to them from the meowing, and I was like, oh my God, are they like, why were they meowing? Like, who was,
Yeah.
And so my daughter was like, I think the orange cat's the mom, because when we used to go around the front of that house to go on dog walks with the neighbor, we'd see a big, fat, pregnant, orange cat. And I was like, but this cat was still fat. So I don't know if I don't want to like insult the recently pregnant cat. Maybe it's postpartum. It was still looking pretty big. So it could have been mistaken. Anyway. And then I was like, I don't know about cat genes, but like, can an orange cat have a tabby cat? I was just like, I don't know how it works. And so I was just doing more.
You're over there with your dry erase board doing Punnett squares.
Well, and the first thing I thought was like, are these tiptoes, is he the father?
Oh,
but because he was fixed early.
He waits for you to go to the grocery store.
Yeah. And
he's like, all right, y'all, come on in.
There is one more tabby around here that has like a limp. Maybe it was him. I don't know. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I'm like, okay, there's 3 kittens. Don't know who the mom is. So I'm telling this to everybody. And I'm like, I don't think that the orange cat, I never saw the orange cat again. So I don't think the orange cat's the parents. There's a black cat that's always there, but it's never with them. It's never down there with them. It's just standing nearby. It's like a guard cat. And I read that like that was normal because it's like a community thing. And, but I was like, but it's not their father because the fathers don't typically stick around.
So the bow tie cat is a guard cat?
Yeah. He's like a well-dressed bouncer.
He's a butler.
Yeah. He's a butler. So I'm pretty much, the plan of action becomes find out if they have a mother. And if they don't, because of their age, they need to be rescued. They still have their blue eyes. They're about 4 or 5 weeks old based on ChatGPT. So they are not like, they're moving around a little bit, but they're still like, kittens who are probably nursing and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God. So
do you use I can't even say it. I've said that before. ChatGPT instead of Google now?
Yeah, because of the amount of context that I give when I tell stories, it's more conducive to ChatGPT than a word search.
Okay, got it.
If it's a quick question, I'll just do Google. But now, like most of what I need to ask relates to things I've asked before.
So it's the difference between what's a safe internal temperature for beef.
Yeah, and
that's a Google question,
right?
And why is there a guard cat dressed like a butler standing with my?
I'm like, I checked it again today, and it would be like, I think you checked it a little soon. And I'm like, okay, because it knows the last time I talked about this. So
got it.
So I basically learn to look for the mom. And so I start just checking there, like at dawn and dusk, like, are they still there? And I put like a little fucking chair in the corner of my yard so I can creep over the fence and get a better angle. I almost bust my ass because I step on it and it fucking breaks and I fall. And I'm like grabbing the fence, trying not to attract attention, not just from this neighbor, but from my other 2 neighbors who can plainly see what I'm doing.
Right.
So
they all think you're looking into their yards.
And then it starts to rain over several days. And so I go over there and look and they're gone. And I was like, oh my God. So it's like, what could this be? And I find out that, okay, well, they could have been mauled and eaten. Were there signs of a struggle? Like I'm fucking Aragorn, like looking at their tracks. But no disturbance, no fur, no like residue or whatever. Cause I was like, oh, it could be a fox or, and I argue with ChatGPT about whether or not a coyote could scale that fence. I was like, there's no fucking way that's possible. And it was like, I thought maybe they'd been eaten. And then, somebody said their mother could have moved them. I was like, okay, I still haven't seen this mother, but this mother's very crafty. And it's like, well, it would be because it's trying to avoid detection by you. So it's not going to be there when you're checking. And for fuck's sake, you might have compromised the nest. And that's why they got moved in the first place, idiot.
Sure.
And so I'm like, great, where are they moved? So at this point, I'm like, now I can't see them. I'm not going to go into my neighbor's yard to start looking for these kittens. And so it's been like 3 or 4 more days. They don't come back. And so I'm like, okay, for the sake of these cats, I need to like do social things. So I go to my neighbor's house, like I drive around the street, and like I've typed out a full page letter explaining everything that I know. Here's what I saw. Here's what I think. Don't know. I think they're still in your yard. If you want my help, call me.
This is about to be a great segue because you're basically Josh Brolin in Weapons.
They never answer the door. So I taped the letter to their door.
It was 2:17 a.m. when these cats went missing.
And she calls me and she's like this sweet old lady who goes on big tangents. She's like, then the guy back across the street, he's having trouble with his renters. And I told him to get an attorney, but he decided not to. And now he's regretting it because they haven't paid the rent in a year. I think he's upset about it. And I was like, yeah, so the fucking cats.
So back to the cats.
Yeah. So I talked to her and basically she reassures me that their mother moved them. I know where they are. They're over in this different part of my yard. The mama moved them. The black cat, the tuxedo cat, is the mother. And I said, you saw this cat move them? Because that cat's been around them all the time, but never. There's only one time I was over there where I noticed that one of them was walking away from where the black cat was. So I was like, well, they obviously are comfortable with it, but that doesn't mean anything. And it was just standing up. It wasn't like cleaning it or laying down, milking it or anything.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay, so that black cat is their mother. And she's like, yes. And I said,
for those of you listening, Hooper did a really great move when he said milking it.
I was wondering if you didn't notice that.
I like that you had to visually describe what milking a cat was to me. I know what you're talking about. I know what nature does. I may not be Steve Irwin, but I'm familiar.
I said, listen, ma'am, it's important that I ask this. Like, do you saw the cat move them? Like, it's not just you're assuming. She goes, nope, she's carrying them in her mouth. And I was like, great. So they do have a mom. Everything looks fine. And she's telling me all this extraneous information. Basically, we figure out that, like, she's like, I'd love your help though, getting them like, moved and get to a vet, but they hiss at me. And she has a cat. So she's like been feeding these cats already. And it's like, they're eating food that I give them. And I'm like, they're too young to get fixed. So, because it would be really easy to just scoop them up now and take them to the vet. Sure. But that's only going to cause their mom to actually abandon them when their scent changes. Yep. And it's like, well, look, they have a mom, so they're protected. The best thing you can do right now is keep feeding them and feed their mom so that she doesn't have to expend energy nursing them and then going out and hunting. She can just stick around and eat the food you give her. So just keep feeding them. Hopefully they develop a positive association with you so that when it is time to actually get them fixed, it's easier to trap them. Although don't hold your breath because it's not easy at all. So I'm probably going to see 3 more tabbies that are a little bit smaller than my cat running around this fucking neighborhood pretty soon. As soon as those ones grow up and don't end up getting caught because it's impossible to catch cats. And then we'll just, if they're all males, they're just going to run around and make more cats. Yep. But my yard will continue to not have snakes or moles or even birds. There's this one cardinal who's always on my trash cans every morning. And then the other day he was like hopping around the yard, like just asking for it. He was like, so quiet.
I'm now imagining this as a Looney Tunes short. Sylvester comes up and it's the Mel Blanc scream from the bird. Yeah!
Get me out of here! Ooh, I'm dying! As it's being eaten. Ooh, I'm dying! Anyway, so that's what's going with the kittens. So that all got solved. That was pretty open and shut. But for a few days, I was like, what do I do? Because like I can't take these cats in my. I even like tried to figure out. I was like, maybe I should just take them in myself. And everyone was like, no, like right. Forget like the cost. Like all the progress you've had with your cat will be set back immediately if you allow other cats, even kittens that he can easily dominate, into his space. he will regress and that's it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yep.
So
for sure.
Because my first thought was like, well, man, he can just be their father figure. He's tabby, they're tabbies, like they'll get along. And it's like, cats aren't people. They don't do.
Yeah, that doesn't work that way. He's not looking to adopt.
I plop kittens down. He's gonna be like, what?
Hold on.
What happened to us?
Hold on one second while I kill these things.
Right, exactly. Or at worst, like this traumatized cat could just decide to kill them.
Yeah, right.
So anyways,
yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait till your kids are here and then I'm gonna kill them in front of them.
Send a message. No more cats.
No more cats.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about weapons, Dustin.
Okay.
This is a true story that happened in my town. So this one Wednesday is like a normal day for the whole school. But today was different. Every other class had all their kids. But Mrs. Gandy's room was totally empty. And you know why? Because the night before, at 2:17 in the morning, every kid woke up, got out of bed, walked downstairs, and into the dark. And they never came back.
I don't understand at all. Why just her classroom? Why only hers?
Where are our children?
We have a lot of emotional parents here. I think it's best if you keep some distance from this place.
Matthew, where are you? Where did you go?
This is where the story really starts.
I just want to say how very sorry I am for...
She should be locked up until she tells us what happened.
The truth is that I want an answer just as bad as all of you.
We're talking about 17 kids in one classroom. I want to know what happened in that classroom. Why just her classroom? Why only hers?
Where are our children?
I love those kids.
This is a true story that happened right here in my town. A lot of people die in a lot of really weird ways in this story, but you're not going to find it in the news.
Those kids walked out of those homes. No one pulled them out. No one forced them. What do you see that I don't?
Show me. Where did you go?
There's something very, very wrong going on.
What am I looking at?
Leave the investigating to the investigators.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Rewatching.
Weapons. So this is a new horror film written, directed, co-produced, co-composed, apparently, by Zach Kreger, who is quickly becoming one of my new favorite directors.
Yeah, who do you think he is? John Carpenter?
I know. Yeah,
directors
right?
can't compose their own films.
What are you gonna hire Dean Cundy next? It actually won't make sense until anyway. All right, well,
that's fine. Makes sense for me.
Yeah, that's right. This is all for us, Dustin. In case people
That's an Easter egg.
forgot.
If anybody listens to an unnamed other episode,
Actually, you know what? This will come out after
Drop it
that,
in the
so
comments.
never mind.
that's fine.
Last week's episode, whatever we did, who cares?
Whatever.
Fuck off.
Continuity who?
The movie stars Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich is in this movie. Benedict Wong is in this movie, and it's a scary movie, man. It's that movie that you've seen marketed pretty heavily, probably everywhere, with the kids with their arms spread out like they're running, like somewhere halfway between an airplane and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sure.
And it's about a town where kids just kind of up and go missing one night. 17 kids in the same night run away from home at the same time, and they are missing, and everyone is pretty freaked out by it and confused, as they should be. This is the same filmmaker as Barbarian, which is another film that I really enjoyed. I watched it just hearing like, oh, it's nuts. And I was like, okay. And then I watched it and I finished it and I was like, that was great. It's like I had a great time. Like I was scared, but I also like felt catharsis, and like it was exciting, and I was into the lore it was presenting me with and everything. It does nonlinear stuff with the storytelling, and it makes similar choices to this film, and it somewhat shifts its tone when it does do that, kind of like this film does. The film, only thing I want to say without spoilers is that it certainly has a climax. Part of me kind of wonders sometimes if it had to go the way that it did, but then another part of me was just glad it made a choice and went for it.
Mm-hmm.
My intention was wrapped the entire time. And for most of the film, I had no clue where it was going. And I love that feeling. Like, my God, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
It's a great feeling only at the movies, not in real life.
Right.
I felt so bad for the characters who wondered that for real and had to live with it, and me who was viewing it for entertainment.
Correct.
Is the film scary? I think so. But more importantly, is it worth seeing? I would say yes. I would say see it in a theater. I enjoyed my theater experience with this movie. It's not perfect. I think some ideas don't go anywhere, and I think some plot lines are dropped. But at the same time, if you see it and you go online and you read some takes, it gets very interesting and complex. One of the dream sequences in the film certainly solidified my read of the horror element for what I thought the majority of the film was about. But other theories I read came out of nowhere and really do a lot to enrich the other choices made in this movie. And so it comes, it kind of becomes known that like, okay, this is very intentional choices made in this movie. And for the most part, they really work. And I really enjoyed Weapons. I'm glad I saw it.
I'm curious what some of those theories are. Maybe we can get into them.
Yeah, I've got a link here.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What about you, Dustin?
Yeah, I went into this not knowing really anything about it. I knew that people were talking about it and that it had Josh Brolin in it and Julia Garner in it. And I thought, yeah, I'll give that a shot. I felt like the poster was kind of cool, but like I didn't see a trailer. I went in completely blind.
Yeah.
I knew only vague things like kids were disappearing, but I didn't know that it all happened at the same time. I didn't know that. I just knew the disappearing kids. And so there's a part of me too that like really wanted to see this, and a part of me that really didn't, because Hereditary taught me I have a hard time watching bad things happen to kids.
Sure.
And so I was like, this may be one that I get up and walk out on, but I'm going to go try it.
Yeah.
And I also really liked this movie a lot. I had a great time with it. I was, like you, my attention was fully devoted to this film for its runtime. I really wanted to know where it was going. I too did not know where it was going, and I think part of the reason for that is its narrative structure, which was really I think key in helping maintain the suspense. So what would happen, dear listener, is the film would tell us about a character. So the first one is Julia Garner's character, Justine. So Justine would talk, and like she would have her whole thing, her whole story. And then at a certain point, when the tension is really, really high, it stops being about Justine and it switches to Archer, Josh Brolin's character. And so, again,
hold on a second.
when
man, the cat is finally right next to me and eating.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's all you can hear.
Well, first of all, can you hear this? But also, I think Oliver's snoring again because Riley's freaking out. So I'm going to have to get up and the cat's going to run. So give me a second.
Okay. Yeah. So then it switches to Josh Brolin's character, Archer, and it becomes about him for a little bit. And when the tension gets really high, then it switches to somebody else. And this is a really great structure because, again, it keeps you on your toes. You don't know where it's going to go next, which character are you going to follow next. Had it been like purely about Justine the entire time, it would have been easier to probably try to piece together the mystery as she also discovers it. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, like, she gets to a point of discovery and then we switch. So now I'm like back at square one in a weird way because Archer is approaching it from a different angle. And so, so it feels to me like, you know, it's keeping us in the dark for longer than we naturally would have been probably. Like I've heard people say the movie's a little bit too long. It's 2 hours, 8 minutes. I didn't actually feel its length.
Me neither.
So I think it's fine.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah. So I think it's totally fine. But the structure, I think, helps keep that pace up. Like as it moves, like it moves. It's never dull. It's never like plotting. And it's also not repetitious. Like you would think with a structure like that it would be a little repetitious, and it doesn't feel that way to me. There's a couple of scenes we see from a different angle, but it doesn't feel like, you know, we're wasting time ever. So yeah, I enjoyed all of the filmmaking of the movie. I think for me, the opening sequence is super effective. It's got this narration from this little girl talking through what's...
I have to go fix that again. Hang on a second.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
You know, I'm really proud of that cat because like twice I've gotten up and he didn't run back to the bedroom. He ran and hid by the front windows, like behind the sheer curtains.
Yeah,
which is the first time I'm aware of where he didn't completely flee back to the bed every time I got up. Yeah, it's good. So I was walking back here. I saw him peeking between the things, like looking at me, and I just looked at him. I was just like,
"Hello."
Yeah. Hi. So
nice.
That's good.
Sweet.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is the narration by the girl, right?
Yeah, so it's got the narration by this little girl, and it's really effective at setting the tone.
Yeah.
It's really effective, like montage. It's set to, I think it's a George Harrison song.
That would make sense. That sounds right.
Yes, Beware of Darkness by George Harrison.
Yeah.
So it's a George Harrison song, and it's really effective. It sets the tone. I would love to watch that sequence again because it's so well done. Yeah, I love it. So all in all, I think I gave this 4 stars.
Yeah, that's about what I give it too.
I also want to talk a little bit about the climax, but I think it's a really good movie and it's totally worth your time for what it's worth. Horror movies and I have a long history of me not really ever being scared by them, like jump scares notwithstanding, because those are manipulative.
Yeah.
But this movie stayed with me a little bit, not in a haunted way, but in a way of like, oh, yeah, that affected me in some deep kind of way. I don't know why. Again, maybe it's just things happening to kids, but regardless, it stayed with me a little longer than most movies. So props to it for that. So if you have a chance to go see this, go see it in theaters. It gave me an adrenaline rush at least once. So that's great.
Yeah, I just think the movie delivers, man. I think it delivers on the horror. I think it delivers on characterization, really delivers on filmmaking. And it even delivers, just delivers on its highs and its promised premise. And once you do find out what is going on, everything that happens from that revelation onwards is the logical progression of this premise.
Yes.
You know, like once the mystery of what happened with the kids is revealed, then the rest of this movie is, oh God, okay. So how
do we fight this?
Yeah. What do we do now? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, let's get into spoilers then, now that we've recommended the movie. So, it's revealed at some point that there is a creepy old woman in town who is basically a witch and manipulated voodoo or some other kind of unspoken, supernatural magic
stuff,
based thing. Because to feed off of their youth, basically, and which is explored in one of the flashbacks with the only surviving kid. And that's when you like figure out like what's going on. So this is where Amy Madigan enters the movie. And, I didn't want to mention her casting at the beginning because I want to reveal anyone else being in the film. I was like, who's Amy Madigan? I recognize that name. And she's Kevin Costner's wife from Field of Dreams.
Oh, okay.
That's the same person.
Wow. Okay.
I know. It's crazy.
Wow.
She has a really great performance in this movie. She's in town and she's sick and she needs this or whatever. And I love the idea of her being a leech, a parasite on just by nature, because the first shot you see of her, like when she comes to live with Alex and his parents, is he's looking down from his bedroom and she is leaning really heavily on his dad as if she can barely hold herself up or walk. That's how weak she is. And my first thought was, oh, you really need other people to support and so I understood immediately what they were doing with that blocking. Like she is completely dependent on these people for strength. And so first she bewitches the parents. That's not enough. So then she's like, what about all your classmates? And then it's just revealed that, oh yeah, she's summoned them there and she's whatever like that. Just having them under her spell, like, is enough for her to just feel youthful and sustained or whatever. Which is just so there's stuff to say there. And that's part of what's in these spoilers. Somebody said, when it got to the final scene, it seemed like it was going to be Julia Garner and Josh Brolin versus the witch. As much as I'd enjoyed it up to that point, I was like, this is a little underwhelming. And then 17 kids chased a witch through suburban America and ripped her to shreds with their bare hands.
Yes.
I think the movie completely delivers because it's like, well, my first thought was like, well, that's kind of over the top. The guy next to me was like, what the fuck did this movie turn into?
Yeah.
But first of all, I then remembered this is the same filmmaker's Barbarian, which is like a similarly like, what ending?
Yeah.
And the more I think about it, it's like, actually, this is the type of horror I prefer if we're going to take something to its conclusion. It's kind of like Together does, like, but this is in a more satisfying way where it's like, once you find out that this creepy stuff is being done by a witch who keeps bewitching other people, she has to be stopped. How do you stop her? What's the most satisfying way you stop this person? Oh, the kids rip her apart. The kids have to kill her. How do we do that? Right. And it's memorable. And it's just like, how many movies can you think of that end this exact same way? I can think of zero. Maybe the kids in Logan killing what's his face at the very end is the closest thing you can think of, right? Yeah. But it's almost Ferris Bueller-esque. Like we go through like multiple backyards chasing this woman who runs pretty well. Kids jumping through windows, just trying to diving at her. It's crazy.
Through homes. Yeah.
It was insane. People were laughing in my theater, like screaming, laughing. It was the most cathartic ending to this movie you probably could have written.
Sure.
And it just all comes down to like, well, did you want like a somber, Prisoners-esque mystery for the whole film? Or did you want things to escalate, Yeah. And for me, it's like, they both have their place. Obviously, I love Prisoners, which is one of the inspirations for this movie. Apparently, Zach Cregger really loved the cinematography in Prisoners. If this is going to be like a trademark of his, where, the film's going to have an ending and it's going to have a third act with rising action. And we're going to do stuff. We're not here to make think pieces that just sort of stay and peter off. Like we're going to deliver on an actual
swing for the fences
experience. then it's like, okay, I'm into it. I've seen this twice now with him, and I support it.
That I think is my qualm with it. I didn't want to laugh at the end of the movie. And I felt like it was played for comedy. Both Gladys's screaming and running, but also like the way it's shot. Like it's, there's the shot from the perspective of the neighbor who's cutting grass or whatever and just sees like the old lady run across and then all the kids.
Yeah.
And it's framed like a comedy.
Yeah, it's wide.
I didn't want that. So while I think that the ending itself, like the content of the ending is fine, the execution of the ending, or rather the tone of the ending, I don't like. So they could have kept every single script beat the exact same way, but framed it for drama, framed it for horror, and I would have resonated with it better. So it's a weird example, but now it becomes like this example that you would show young directors, like, this is how you take a film and you make it into something just by framing and just by shot design. You make it something that is different, too jarring for me. It like in my mind's eye, it like the cinematography style changes. Everything's flat and like naturalistic suddenly because they're outside, and it just feels too different to me. But they could have kept everything exactly the same content wise, and it would have been fine if it had just felt like a part of the same movie I just watched for 2 hours. So that's where I come down on it. Like, I'm not against the ending. I'm against the way the ending's presented.
One of the prevailing feelings I had when the movie, like during the first half or whatever of the movie, when you're still trying to figure out what's going on, my read of it was, this is a movie about school shootings, mass shootings. Gun violence. It takes place around a school. The victims are kids. The sudden confusion and like out of nowhereness of just this big loss in the community all at once, and trying to figure out why, trying to blame somebody. All of that's, at play. So for a while I was viewing the film sort of as an allegory in that sense. There's another read of the film that I thought was interesting, because once Gladys is introduced, it becomes more of a how trauma is passed down through generations. One person's read of it was the plague of right-wing conservatism as displayed by a toxic old person, weighing down the rest of society with her inherent nature, which is a valid read. Like I was reading, I was like, that's ridiculous. And I kept going. I was like, I don't know. It's a valid take.
I'd have to see more info on that one. That one seems like a stretch to me.
It was, man, I don't know
just
if it's in the
she's
same
old?
thread. No. No, it was her, oh God, I need to find it now because it does sound unfounded, but this may be it. This person's, okay. My reading of the movie was, it was about gun violence, especially mass shootings in schools, along with blaming the police and older generations for what's happening. The film starts with an emphasis on the kids, even being narrated by a kid. The town wants to blame the teacher. She's the only one who could be a scapegoat. At the beginning, the town hall latches onto her the same way a minority group would get blamed for a mass shooting rather than the weapons. In the third act, after the introduction of Gladys, the film pivots into a critique of the elderly, their current parasitic nature to younger generations, and their lack of giving a shit. When Alex's house all falls to shit at the end, her first thought is ditching the home and skipping town. Obviously, there's a couple of, other than like the blocking I was talking about earlier, like there's a couple of references to parasites in the movie, like Benedict Wong and his husband are watching a documentary about cordyceps. They're learning about parasites.
Justine's teaching about it.
Yeah, Justine's teaching about it.
It works as an allegory, but not a straight allegory like you would think of other allegorical films that are clearly all the way through an allegory. This feels more of an allegory in the cause and effect, but not necessarily the mechanics of the plot. So the cause being some sort of violent act done against children, and the effect being that a large swath of children all end up taken out in a single second. That's a clear allegory for gun violence in America, and then it moves away from school shootings and into something that I feel like is less allegorical.
Yes, it gets very plotty.
Or it becomes about a different allegory,
right.
But and so maybe that's where some of this stuff comes in. What you got on that?
I found the take.
Okay.
I might be reading too much into the movie where the kids rip off the face of a witch, but I kept thinking to myself why the movie is called Weapons and how the assault rifle and Brolin's nightmares sequence ties into it. And then I fell down a mental rabbit hole. With that imagery and a bunch of kids vanishing, this movie is obviously about school shootings in some way, but I think the movie takes it a step further and is really about right-wing indoctrination and radicalization. First, there are multiple references to parasites in the movie, which is probably just referring to Gladys inserting and taking control of the household, but I think that could represent the inserting of right-wing rhetoric into the minds of kids. Gladys zombifies Alex's parents, which made me think of the absentee parents you see in these types of stories, oblivious to what is happening with their kid. Gladys also says that whatever she is doing to the parents isn't enough for her. She needs kids. The right wing has been especially reliant in recent years in changing/gutting education and getting into the minds of young people in order for their ideology to remain and spread like a parasite. I think the line where Josh Brolin says something like, "It's weaponizing our kids," summarizes what Krieger is trying to say. This radicalization turns kids into weapons, sometimes even literally with shootings. I think it is also intentional how Gladys kills a gay couple in the middle of the movie. Otherwise, what's the point of making, Benedict Wong gay? I think Krieger is intentional in showing that Alex is bullied and ostracized by his class, as similar things happen with a lot of young right-wingers whose anger and loneliness are exploited by influencers and the like. This also may be the reason why in the beginning, one of the first lines of dialogue is about feeling angry and explaining how universal it can be. This read isn't perfect. I don't know how a lot of the other characters really fit into this puzzle. Alex, even though he is responsible partially for the missing kids, isn't vengeful really or looking to hurt them, unlike a lot of school shooters, and only does what he does to save his parents. I also don't know why the right-wing influences would be represented by an old witch instead of something else. Anyway, I thought it'd be worthwhile to say.
It can be a valid take. It feels a little bit like reading something into it rather than something out of it.
Right.
And I think part of that to me is that the kids weren't weaponized. Like even Alex was victimized. He wasn't weaponized.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that part of it works. Yeah, but I think he was victimized all the way through, and then I don't know that Alex himself was ever truly weaponized.
No, I think I think the kids were weaponized by Alex to kill Gladys. Probably.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, for most of the movie, it's like, who are the weapons?
Yeah, I think the weapons analogy is like the children become the 17 children become weapons against the witch.
Sure.
But I don't think we can pinpoint that to Alex having any sort of allegorical motivation.
Right.
At that point, he's not acting out of ideology. He's acting out of necessity.
Right. Exactly.
So adding an ideological point of view to that character and that motivation is weird. But I do agree about this. I think that this has to mean something. That there is a clear allegory in the beginning of the film about school shootings.
Yeah.
That at the end of the film we lose, and we've now gained a different allegory. Mm-hmm. It's unclear to me exactly what it is. It is clearly parasitic.
Yes.
But what the witch represents within that system is confusing, because you could say, like, I think anybody could read in a valid interpretation, but I'm more interested in what we read out of the film. So So if you read in, like I could say, oh, well, you know, she's into witchcraft. So the allegory is, you know, about supernatural practices or religious practices. And okay, well, that's great. But she never truly represents that.
Right.
So I don't think we can actually do that. So we've got to read out from the text, so to speak, what the allegory is. And I don't see a clear one. So it's just going to, I think, resort to a bunch of people saying like, well, this is what I already think, so now I'm going to make the film think it too. But that's not to like say the film is not saying anything. I think it clearly is. I'm just not smart enough to know what it is.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think if you decide to just take the film at face value at that point in the third act, that the film still totally works.
This guy's read tracks in terms of would these takes come from a singular person? Would the same person complain about right-wing indoctrination and gun violence? Yeah. Those are two things that are linked, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that said, it's much more supported as a valid take that the audience, like looking at a painting and saying, I think this is about my mom, you know? It's probably not about your mom, but the fact that it made you think about your mom means you engaged with it and your brain found a pattern that says something profound to you.
It's a Rorschach test. But
But there are several things in the film that are unmistakably like, whatever it is that you think Gladys represents, whatever it is, it's parasitic. So then it just comes down to, well, what do you think is parasitic in society? And you can glom that onto her.
Because I would ask, okay, so if we're to believe that this is right wing, or we're to believe that it's about, you know, religious, the place, the role of religious affiliation in the current day, whatever it is, whatever you want to read into it, I would say, what does that character of Gladys have about her? What trait, what ideological viewpoint does she have that is unique to that group that couldn't also be attributed to another group? Yeah. If the answer is none, then I don't think we have enough information to give a valid reading. But if we say, okay, but it's not unique to it, but it is part of that group, well, then great, it's possible, but it's not supported by the text. It's not refuted by the text, but it's not supported by the text either. You know, it's the, you know, are Holmes and Watson secretly lovers? Well, it's not refuted by the text, but it also isn't supported by the text. So if you want them to be, sure, but if you don't want them to be, then they're not. So, you know, you know what I mean? But I would think, like, for me, that second half again just works at face value. Mm-hmm. I wish Zach Kreger would talk a little bit more about what his inspirations were with that section. Yeah. Because it just feels like, to me, I know it's saying something. I'm having a hard time finding the through line in what it's saying. Yeah. It seems like it no longer supports the, you know, gun violence in schools thing anymore. Yeah. So, but what is it saying? Or have we just devolved into horror movie territory?
Yeah. And that's the thing.
And if so, that's okay.
Right. It's okay. But it's like, yeah, you sort of, I feel like when you write a movie or any kind of, if you really want to write like a masterpiece of horror, an original new horror story, it's like at a certain point, where did the writer end and the director producer began? At what point do you go, okay, well, fucking, this is a horror movie. I have to have, you know, at what point did he say, it doesn't quite fit what I'm trying to say, but the commerce is going to take over and I need some plot, you know? Because if this were a book, I don't think it would have ended this way. It's a very visual ending that you need to experience versus a page turner of a mystery that is, you know what I mean, that ends up coming to a complex and wordy conclusion with lots of exposition. It's like, I think the medium chooses for you in that sense.
Yeah, I see that. I also think, like, I was going to say this a minute ago too, in regards to Benedict Wong's character being killed and whether that's a statement on like crimes against minority groups or LGBT groups. For me, if that were a statement on either of those things, it feels to me that that would be explicitly stated in the text. Like, so imagine the scene where where Gladys goes to the office, and everything seems to be hunky dory until he says, well, my husband says, and then the turn happens. And then she sees the ribbon and, well, I'm going to do something to you. Mm-hmm. Now we have a case for the film supporting that this is an hate allegory for hate crimes, or that somehow it's ideologically motivated against LGBTQ groups. Okay. Now we're on to something, but without that piece, there's no allegory that we can, again, the film doesn't refute it, but the film does not support it. Yeah.
There's no clear thread, but I think at the same time, it's like, if you had made it explicitly at that, like if you'd done it the way you just described, I'd be sitting here going, okay, so if you didn't know the principal was gay, would you have still not decided to pursue zombifying him because he's the one who has access to information and can get you the child protect? Like there's a plot reason that she goes after. And so I wonder if that's why I somewhat agree with that read of, well, if you make his character gay, it adds to this subtext, this allegory. Sure. So it's like, she hurts him, he's gay. She doesn't hurt him because he's gay, not in the plot, but it supports the argument of that take. She hurts him because he's the principal. Yeah. But if you lump that in there, you get two birds, one stone. Yeah. But it doesn't work for textual allegory in that sense.
I would argue that this, I don't know what the term for this is, but I'm going to call it like writer allegory rather than intertextual or like plot allegory. Mm-hmm. This is like the writer making a statement and using a character's identity then as using the character's identity as a weapon or as a, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's victimizing that group for allegory's sake, but on the writing side, on the writer's side, not on the film or plot or textual side. Right. So whatever the term for that is, and that kind of allegory, I'm less interested in because it feels like the writer didn't finish their job by then incorporating it plot wise. Right.
Yes.
So to me, this is just me. To me, that feels less interesting. But is that the case? You phrasing it that way? Sure. Yeah. That makes more sense to me now that you phrased it that way. But again, I'm less interested in that because I would prefer have an in-universe, in-story, in-plot allegory for my own sake. Yeah. I think it's a really good movie. It's unsettling. Yeah. It's scary. There are jump scares, but there are also clear moments where like well, go ahead. But there's this really great moment where Julia Garner's character is dreaming and she looks on the ceiling and Gladys is on the ceiling. Yeah. And like, I knew that was coming, but still, like, I didn't jump, but the adrenaline got me. And I was like, yo, that's unsettling.
The guy next to me jerked so hard, he kicked his leg like a donkey.
There's a girl, a row behind me with a guy, and the entire movie, she just kept going like, no. And like every time it started getting tense, she would just go, no.
You could hear people shifting in their seats.
Yeah.
I heard the guy behind me always went, oh shit.
Those are my favorite.
But it makes anticipation even better.
What I love about the to yourself mumbling is I feel this so strongly I have to say it, but I don't want to say it out loud, so I'm going to say it as quietly as possible.
Right. I don't want everyone
it's like
to know
I still
I'm
have
scared,
decorum,
but I need to soothe myself.
I am so scared. It's way funnier.
That was something I thought of was the dreams, like having Gladys in your like everyone kind of dreams about Gladys at one point or another, like Josh Brolin does. What's the teacher's name? Justine dreams about her. The junkie Caesar. That guy was great, by the way.
Yeah, he was so good. We didn't even talk about him.
Yeah.
He's so good.
Yeah.
So the actor is Austin Abrams. He does a fantastic job playing a lovable junkie. Not since Breaking Bad has there been such a lovable junkie.
He goes in the Junkie Hall of Fame.
He does.
I don't know why we're dreaming about Gladys, because other than this is a horror film and she's the villain. But
yeah. So I thought about this too.
In other ways, it's like no one has seen her before. So like the most you could say is that, oh, maybe the whole town's dreaming about her.
Yeah.
And that's like the allegory of like the specter of this trauma hangs over you. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the junkie Caesar, he's not like worried. He's not thinking about the kids. He's just scared and in the woods, and we needed to scare him. We needed a reason for him to leap out and stab Alden Ehrenreich with another needle.
Now, in the defense of that one, I can't validate the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But with this one, that did happen after he had been to that house.
That's right.
And had seen what he had seen. So it could very well have been that Gladys actually was in the woods.
But the other two were definitely dreams.
Definitely.
And so it's almost, so I don't know. That one's harder to crack. Like, okay, like that's kind of weird. Like for that to work, you'd have to assume everyone in the town is having nightmares about Gladys, i.e. they're having nightmares about the missing kids and what might have happened to them. The film wraps up a little too quickly, but what would have solved that? This is a terrible way to do it, but what would have solved that is like, oh yeah, I had a dream about her. Oh yeah, me too. But like, who's going to point at a body with a ripped up face and go, I recognize her.
Yeah.
Or while she's running away from the kids, someone goes, that's the lady from my dream. Mine too.
Yeah, right.
You know, and then you get the fat, okay, like everyone dreamed about it. That would solidify that idea, but it is too on the nose. But yeah, that's the only thing where it's like, wait a second, you can't do that. You can't have her be in dreams. Double edged for me. Like I liked it, but I was sort of like, but why?
You're right. In universe, it doesn't make much sense.
It doesn't make sense why they're dreaming about Gladys.
It
makes sense, but allegorically, it should have been more widespread. Yeah. It should have been like, why didn't Alden Ehrenreich have a dream about her?
Right.
You know, why didn't Benedict Wong? Just why didn't more people? And it's like, well, because she's an actual real person. So it's kind of like, it's like, okay, well, figure it out.
Right.
You know,
right. Yeah.
I would have accepted jump scares of just creepy looking kids.
Sure.
That's always scary.
Yep.
And you didn't have to have Gladys be the jump scarer. Then that takes care of it all. It's like, oh, okay, everyone's fucking having dreams about their kids missing, obviously.
Yeah.
Because Justine doesn't have that dream either until she has gone to the house. Josh Brolin has the dream,
that's true.
But he never went to the house.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just inconsistent about what causes these dreams to happen. Do only the people who go by that house have the dreams? Mm-hmm. In which case, that makes sense for two characters, but not the third.
Yeah.
So
it's a good question.
Something I would have liked cleaned up. I would have liked that cleared up, and I would have liked that to make it into the final draft. Like, let's just fix that little inconsistency. I'm sure there's an easy way. Or will you please tell me what that means so I can help you do this better?
Sure.
So
interesting. Yeah, I hadn't thought about it, but you're right.
Yeah.
I was also going to say we didn't talk about Alden Ehrenreich and his girlfriend, fiance, and that whole subplot, which is there and then dropped. It's fine, but it didn't really bother me. But it is sort of a dropped thread. I'm curious if there's more on the cutting room floor with that. But I also wanted to point out before we skipped over it that the police captain is played by Toby Huss, who is a voice actor from King of the Hill and the new current voice of Dale Gribble.
Real? Oh,
on
wow.
King of the Hill. Yeah.
Yeah, I will watch more movies that Zach Cregger makes because I'm finding that I, by and large, enjoy them, even with their
I want to watch
problems.
this again.
I would watch this again too.
I definitely would watch this again. I might even buy this movie. I think it's a really good movie, and I want to see it again because I want to understand it better. So yeah, I'd buy it again, or I'd buy it and watch it again.
Yeah, I'd watch it again with others and show it to somebody. Okay, that's Weapons.
That's Weapons.
You ever heard of snorting gum? You have now. Oh, I'm dying. Who cares?
Whatever.
Fuck off.